mighty sting coming out from Vitality has seen them once again show us why they are one of the best teams in the world. But the highs of Cologne are also met by the lows of EPL, and they are hungry for so much more. ZywOo, they call him the chosen one for a reason. He has been dominating so far here in Copenhagen, looking to showcase himself as the most superior player in Counter-Strike 2. He hasn't been doing all of the heavy lifting though. Both Spinks and Flames are close behind him. And that is exactly the formula they need to reach their 4th final this year. This is Vitality!
G2 versus Vitality, the first time these two rosters have officially locked horns. And Jacob, I cannot guarantee many things, but this is going to be an explosive game. I can guarantee it.
We're inside an arena. We have two of the best players in the world taking on each other. ZywOo on one side, m0NESY on the other, and then you bring in the mix of NiKo, you have Spinks, you have Flames, you have all these hard hitters showing up, playing a good tournament so far. So I tend to agree with you, Freya. I cannot imagine a world where this game is not going to be great.
One thing that I noticed is actually how ZywOo was actually a little bit talented in that Team Liquid game on the very map Anubis. And I think Ultimate found an ultimate counter to him by finding those openings. And I think that will be detrimental for m0NESY as well. He needs to be challenging ZywOo head-to-head in those AWP duels and winning them.
And it's a good point, and we get to see if G2, whether or not they're prepared for that specifically, maybe a way to shut down ZywOo. I guess my counter-argument to that is, when was the last time you saw ZywOo have 2 bad maps in a row, 2 different days? He's always like that kind of guy that maybe sometimes he get red, maybe sometimes he's having a day off, maybe sometimes a team or a certain player finds a way to shut him down. The next day, he's just coming up with a new way of playing. He's not one-dimensional, he's anything but that.
That's the worst part. He had an off game, but he was still far the best player on the server. So it was, statistics don't lie. Obviously, he's not going to have 2 in a row, but it's a food for thought.
Well, we can see the live odds up on your screen right now. They are indeed favoring Vitality, which I think makes sense, Jacob, when we're just looking at what Vitality have been putting on the server ever since they lifted the trophy in Cologne. Sure, okay, they did stumble versus Eternal Fire at ESL Pro League. I'm going to say that wasn't a fluke because we saw Eternal Fire making it to that grand final. I do indeed have Vitality favored in this series.
Me too, and I think that's a fair assessment of this game. However, it is close. I think G2 have, great chances of making this game competitive. They have great chances of pushing this to a 3rd map that could be Mirage, and we've seen that time and time again. Once you get into a 3rd map, once it's Mirage, it completely opens up the battlefield. For my money, there's a couple of players I want to put under the spotlight. Stykko, you mentioned him just a couple of moments ago. Hunter is not having a great time. One of the worst performing players throughout this tournament so far. If they want to win today, G2, he has to find some sort of little.
Absolutely, and it's not only Hunter that needs to come alive here, but also Malbs. As we said, these 2 players are still in the tournament, and apart from IGLs, these 2 are the worst rated players so far, so let's see how they're going to bring it back.
Tell me what we can expect from a G2 T-side start on Anubis. We're talking about it as one of, the most T-side maps in the pool. Where do they bring the pain to their opponents?
I mean, NiKo is always a fun player to watch when it comes to Anubis. I feel both on the CT side, but in particular on the T side. His entering, his path of walking in towards middle, using the utility to his advantage, it's something we see time and time again, and I hope they get to dictate the pace. If you're G2 and you decide to start on that T side, you're also sort of saying to yourself, we get to dictate the pace. Whether the pace is going to be fast, explosive, a little bit more calm, a little bit more waiting, feeling out the opponent, I'm not quite sure, but it's G2's responsibility to dictate the pace from the get-go.
Middle is the most impactful position on the map, and look at the people that are playing both positions mirrored. It's Apex and NiKo, 2 completely different playstyles, completely different statistically, and it's just going to be the way how Apex plays around it with utility, with nades, how he's going to outbrain the opponent. He's going to call ZywOo to hold NiKo and make sure that he's not unchained. we will see.
Where are we on the Snacks equation at the moment? Because obviously alongside Hunter, he's not been having the best performance. How many maps in a row has it been with a negative rating? It's up in the mid-20s.
24.
Yeah, it's not been great for
He's
him.
breaking records, hasn't he?
All the records that you don't want to be breaking, Jacob. Where are we looking at him to be bringing the biggest strength to G2? Because he has been a man that's been receiving quite a lot of criticism.
I'll be brutally honest, as I like it. I think right now he's been a liability for G2. I think his fracking power on the server, the way he conducts himself on the server has been a bit of a liability for G2. There's been certain games, certain moments, arguably it's more than 24 games since we saw that, but where he's finding impact. There's certain rounds where he still has that clutch ability. He's often left by himself as well. He's very passive on the server, not involved in a lot of opening kills. And from Snacks, you just want to see a bit more output. You want to see him win a couple of more clutches. I don't really care whether or not he's having a plus KD or if his rating is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm just asking for a little bit of impact. And the way he's been playing the past, dare I say, a month, you know, it's been a little bit lackluster and it's been a liability. And that can't be the case here on the stage.
100%. And I have to say that Snacks has the ability to do so. He's been showing it throughout his career. It's been a little bit off since the G2 arrival, but well, I got high hopes.
Surely Vitality are going to know exactly how to take advantage of that, though. Like, we know that they're a team that love to be watching their opponents. Obviously, this is the first time we're going to see them facing off against Snacks, against Malbs in this G2 jersey. Surely they've done their homework and know exactly where to prod to make G2 bleed.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, they have a luxury problem because they look towards G2 and they think, okay, Snacks is an obvious liability. Maybe we can test him a little bit. What often happens with Snacks, though, is that he's getting hidden. You know, he's not out there taking the first duels. He's not out there putting himself in front of the opponent. So he can sort of hide. The problem is Hunter. When you have two players now being liabilities, two players not showing up from an individual standpoint, then there's a lot of space all of a sudden for Vitality to go test that water. So hopefully one of or both of Hunter and Snacks will have a much better showing today, and then I think that could be a bit of an issue for Vitality and their so-forth game plan.
Any individuals on the side of Vitality that you're looking out for, Stiko? I know we can state the obvious, we can always say Zywoo, but anybody else? Give me some goods.
I will give you the Flamesy here, and especially for Anubis, has to help that A side being really resourceful with the utility he has to play with, and sometimes again calling
the big time only.
playstyle.
Don't need, no? On your shoes only lonely, no? You shall win the lonely, go my lip at Gilam,
Throughout my pro team career, and obviously that is a challenge.
There's a player we haven't mentioned at all.
G2 the vital let you 9 1 no? Foxie by pian. Sound the go see do what you get. Oh, let's go, G2. Role Guba, what did tell us? What did massive? And you the white very long. What behind now we find a memla. What do they know? Or a year might know. 1, 2, 3, Jenny Luton, don't maybe, huh? Lucy Signet, Sokobiona. The chosen one supermercy, eh? Now I'll be the. You need to measure that they are G2 Wemo. You need to measure that they are G2 Wemo. That G2 is very little Yamabe. Measure that they are not in a face, no? Crowshing my Yowla. That's when the Canani Lam and have in a face could go around. Amada Kudasa. But you have 11 evening and I be out there. Ah, you go here, say I'm a yoke. You Jonas, I know. Tajam Lago, madam, Bobia, Giru Jadali, Giru Jada, Umea, I mean, Lucy Signet will kill deep. You know, Payman is oh, I done. Those are what they work on. We are going on. Hello, show some sort of one. No, today, Limity on the name Pony Lumiao. Hello, woman. Pay and I will get out of Jamia Giru. Man, to that dinner, what that dinner? Who them can I know? Yanajido made Chidu. I bet you want to get one for no reason, man. Don't know she love cheated. Cheated. But do Mojura, Chongzani. Hello, La Chiga. What you had Chiro below there. Don't you love Yali Jesus, man? Oh, to call me, eh? Piamio. I know why. You do what I'm doing. Mercy, well, would you show the majority of the room and Piana, me and I mean, I hope. Might not be a man, I mean, oh. You try to go meeting a tuberga, do we better legal? Don't know how cheap and how it what that? You don't have the generate your idea. Tell Mobila, like Penny, say Joey, how Mobile about him, Piani Lulu, come you do it, let's go. Hello, the super 8 game in. Hello, Mila machine. Mila machine. Look, yeah, no, that Mila machine, no, that. Maybe I'll Piana Lake off the line. It's Piana, man, go see it through a lay. ဒီကိုကြည့်လိုက်ဒီနေပေါင်းငါ့ကိုကကွန်မန့်လာမှန်သွားမို့လားနေမဟုတ်ဘူးကွာကဲဘာကြိုက်လဲကဲကျွန်တော်တော့ G2 ကြိုက်တယ်ဗျာနော်ဟုတ်ပြီလားမဟုတ်ပြီလူမမြင်အောင်မဟုတ်ပြီတို့ကိုလည်းဘယ်တော့ချပြပါလဲမဲ office ချပြတာပြောလားလုံးနေလားဟုတ်လေ PG လို့သောက်ကောင်းပြတော့ PG လို့လုံးသွားတာ Okay ဘာမှလို့ဝေရိုက်တာဗျ G2 နေတဲ့ Vitality ကိုအနူးပစ်ပြီးတော့ surprise ဝင်တိုက်နေရပါတော့ Vitality အနေနဲ့ကလည်းတကယ်တမ်းကြလို့ရှိရင်တော့ဒီကွက်ကိုထူးထူးဆန်းဆန်းရှုံးထားဘူးတဲ့မက်ကဒီတမက်ပဲရှိတာဒါပေမဲ့ဒူးတစ်ခေါက်တော့ရိုက်တာတော့ထားလိုက်ပါတော့နော်ဆိုတော့သူတို့ရုတ်တရက်ဆိုသလိုအားနဲ့တက်တယ်ဆိုတဲ့မက်ကဒါပဲရှိရလို့ပြောမှာဗျ Vitality ဆိုတော့ဒါကိုတော့ G2 ကခွင့်ကောင်းယူပြီးတော့ပစ်လိုက်တယ်ဆိုတော့ဒီ site မှာကျွန်တော်ငငယ်တုန်းကလုပ်တဲ့အကွက်နဲ့ကျွန်တော်ဒါ site saver လို့ပဲပြေးဝင်ပြီးအကုန်လုံးပြစ်ခွဲလိုက်တယ်ဗျပြေးဝင်ပြီး glow ရဲ့ close by ဆိုတော့ USB လည်းနားမရောက်မခံနိုင်မဲနဲ့ကျွန်တော်တိတ်ဆုံးသွားတယ်နောက်ဆုံးကျွန်တော်ဇိုင်ဝူးပဲတက်ရှင်တော့တယ်ဗျ The chosen one အဲ့ကွာ dual barrel လေးอ่ะပုံသွားတယ် dead body ပုံသွားတယ်လုံးတွေဘယ်တော့ရေးသားချပေးမှလဲလုံးဘယ်တော့ရေးသားချဟာလေချန်ပီယံဖြစ်မဲ့အသင်းပွဲပဲဩဟုတ်ပါဟုတ်ပါတဲ့ဒီပွဲဆိုကြည့်ပါဘယ်မှမလဲနောက်ကောင်းနေလာတာဟုတ်လေအေးလေဒီကလည်းကျေးဇူးပါတယ်ကျေးဇူးကြပြီလို့လူပဲပါကြိုက်လေလူပဲကတော့ round over လေးပိုကြိုက်တယ် bro လူတက်ရတယ်နှကောင်းနဲ့ကြည့်ပေးတယ်နော်အဟုတ်ချစ်ဆုံးနာမည်လေးကိုပြောင်းလိုက်ပါဒါပေမဲ့မိတ်ကက်မေဦးမောင်နဲ့အစမ်းသုံးကတ်တယ်ဟာဟုတ်လိုက်လားဘယ်သူအားပေးဖို့ခရောက်ကိုသူကလက်ကိုတီးခိုင်းနေတာထုံးနေရမယ်ပြားတုတ်တက်သားတဲ့အမဲထုံးတော်လာရောင်းနေရပါလားပြားပွဲမှာလက်စကိုးလေကိုသားကြီးနာပြည့်ချင်မြင်မဲတော့နာပြည့်ပွဲက match of the day ပဲကြည့်လိုက်တော့ကိုသားကြီးပွဲ match ဆိုတာအမဲဆိုတာ YouTube မှာပြဦးလားမပြတော့ subscribe တော့ဟဲ့ YouTube နေကြည့်နေ YouTube လေဩငါ့ကိုလာစားနေကဲပွဲကောက်တော့ပွဲကြည့်သူ over လာတာဆိုဟုတ် over ပဲကိုရသေးတယ်ဟုတ်စင်လိုက်လေမှုတ်မှုရောတိလိုက်ပါပြီဩဒါအကောင့်3ခုလုံးရှိဘူးကြီးကိုလည်းဆဲပေးပါတယ်ဘူးကြီးတော့ဆဲပေးတယ်ဘူးကြီးတော့တော့ရမ်းကြောက်နေပဲမနေ့ကတွေ့လိုက်တယ်ဘူးကြီးရဲ့ crypto နိုင်တော့သားပဲဒီခေါင်းတော့မစောရကြတဲ့တက်ပွဲကြည့်မယ်နော်ပွဲ focus လေးလုပ်မယ်များနော်ပွဲ focus လေးလုပ်မယ်ပိုင်ပွဲကြောက်မဲ့ပြောအောင်G2 ပေါ့နော်အတိုးလေး pistol round နိုင်တယ်ဆိုပေမဲ့ကျွန်တော်တစ်ဘက်က force by ထားပြီး AP9 တွေ strong ဆုံးဆိုတော့ကန်လို့ပြောလို့ရမယ်ဇိုင်ဦး flame စီဒါပေမဲ့ကျွန်တော်မျောပြီးသွားပြစ်တယ်ဆိုတော့ flame စီရ handler တော့ဆုံးသက် heavy ပြီးလုံးနေဆို farmers ဇိုင်ဦးတော့ taming handler လက်ချက်နဲ့တေဆုံးသွားတယ် CC နဲ့ okay 8 pack ချက်ချင်းတော့မြန်ဆုံးသက်လိုက်တယ်ဗျဘာဖြစ်လို့လဲဆိုတော့main ကနေလာပြီးသူလာ trade မှာဆိုတော့ဒီမှာ catching farmers တော့ကောက်လိုက်ပြီမိုလီတလုံးတော့ကျဲကိုကြိုးစားနေ melt နဲ့ကျွန်တော်ဒါ monacy နှလုံး moly နှလုံးတော့ကောင်းချက်လဲဝဲကနေလာတဲ့နေရာကိုတားလိုက်တဲ့ပုံစံမျိုးပဲဒါပေမဲ့ heaven right side မှာတကောင်ထက်ရှိနေတဲ့ mobs okay လွဲသွားပြီ apex မဲစီနေရောက်လုံးပဲ monacy mobs ဆိုတော့နေရာလုံးဆုံးသက်လိုက်ပြီးတော့ vitality တချင်းဆိုသလိုပဲ force by မှာတော့အနိုင်ရသွားသေးတယ်ဗျဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ city မှာတတိထားမှာ strong ဖြစ်ဆုံးခံက MP9 တတိမှာတတိထားမှာ strong OP ဖြစ်ဆုံးက tag 9ဗျတကယ်တော့ network ဘရုံနေတဲ့အချိန်ကိုပြောရပါတော့ကျွန်တော်ညီတူဝဲလေးတခြားကဟုတ်ကွယ်ဒီမမန့်နဲ့ညီနေလိုက်တော့ကျွန်တော်ညီတူတွေကဖေးလဲကြိုက်တယ်ဟိုခွထိုင်နေအကောင်မင်းသူစီမှုတ်မိမိုက်တယ်နော်အဖြူရောင်ကောင်းလေးမြင်းအောင်နေပြီးတော့တခေးနာပြီးတော့ဖလားထက်ရဖို့ချိန်မယ်လုံးကွယ်တော်တွေကလည်းဗျာတဲ့အလက်ကားတဲ့နေနဲ့ထိတ်နေတာကိုမှတ်တယ်စကြက်လေးပါလေးပြေအောင်လေအလက်ကားနေနဲ့မုန်းနေရသူ့လေဘိုးတွေရဲ့ဆိုတွေကအဲ့ဒါဆိုတော့นี่ရဲ့မဆိုယူပေးပြောတာအခုကစားပြီးစပတ်ပေးပါပဲမောဟိုက copyright တွေပါပြီးတော့ကြာတော့ပြန်ပြမယ်လေချစ်ဆုံးရဲ့နီနာမလေးဥပေးပါဦးမိရှေးဆန်တယ်အိုးကိုတော့ဖြိုးပြဦးကိုကြီးတသားနာချီနေပြီကဲလည်းငန်းတာပဲဖြူအောင်ကောင်လေးဆိုပဲမဟုတ်ဖြူအောင်ကောင်လေးဆိုတော့သူကနာမည်တက်ထားလို့လေကိုကြီးပွဲပဲကြည့်မယ်လေပြားကိုအပေးရတော့အပြားကိုပြားပဲကိုကကြည်သူးကြိုက်တာအဲ့ဒီဗလားယူမလာမစိုးတဲ့ဆိုပဲယူကျွလေ